Good morning, YouTube family. Good afternoon and good evening, wherever you might be. Glad that you guys are joining us today. Hey, Obi-Wan, good to see you. John, good to see you. Glad you guys are already hopping on. Hey, you guys, so today, the topic today comes because, as you all know, we're all looking around and thinking, what the heck, is everybody a narcissist today? And not just that. I mean, we all know not everybody's a narcissist, but it sure does seem like it, doesn't it? And not only that, but you kind of start getting paranoid when you look around and you wonder, is this person I'm dating a narcissist? Is my boss a narcissist? Is my best friend a narcissist? You just kind of get into this rut where it just seems like they show signs of narcissism, right? And if you're really raw to it, you're going to you're going to feel paranoid. You're going to start feeling very uncomfortable a lot of the time. So anyway, we're going to address that today. So glad that you guys are hopping on, and I wanted to share with in Happy Crappy Hour what our happies and crappies are this week. So I want to hear back from you guys and know what's going on, how things are shaping up in your lives. Um, for me, crappy, I mean, there are a lot of happies and crappies that happened this week. But one of the crappies was, when you go delve in too deep, when you get, I love to read and I love to learn. So, and actually, I think this happens to everybody because, now that we have social media, now that we have YouTube and things like that, and links on web pages. So after you read one article, there's another link, and you want to go to that link, and then another one, and another one, and before you know it, 2 hours have passed. So even though I'm not doing the social media thing where I'm checking up on who's doing what all the time, because that, by the way, is a huge waste of time and also destroyer of your ego and destroyer of your life satisfaction. So it's a bad idea to get onto social media, even though you're thinking, well, I'm just keeping up with my friends and my family. And I did that for a while. But what I found is that it tends to bring people down more than it brings them up. So, but even if you cut that out and you're going into articles that you want to read or videos that are entertaining or educational, what ends up happening is, well, the marketers at these places are very good and they know to recommend other videos and other articles, and you end up reading and watching for hours, and then before you know it, your whole day is gone, or half your morning, or whatever it might be. So that is part of the paranoia problem because it does feed into the paranoia, especially if you're investigating and learning about narcissistic personality disorder. Because at the beginning, of course, it's so helpful because you're waking up to this, whatever you want to call it, mental disease. You're waking up to it, and then things start to make sense because you're like, holy cow, that's why. That's why I couldn't get through to this person. That's why we couldn't have a heart to heart conversation. That's why I never felt close to this person. But when you go down all these videos and you're absorbed into them, and you stay there for too long, you tend to start thinking and projecting what you're learning onto people you see, right? It's almost like you're trying out what you're learning, and and instead of it being a language you're practicing, you're now practicing identifying narcissistic traits in people to the point where you might start to project onto them characteristics that it's just normal. It's just normal being human. It's normal being um, uh, confident, right? Or normal having a good day. Some people have a good day and they just suddenly are on your nerves because they just seem to be too outlandish and too excited and too dramatic, and you think, oh, that's a narcissist. But in actuality, they're just having a good day. They're on the upswing, right? Um, we're going to talk about all of that, and The crappy for the week is when you go into, or for me in this case, when I start going into videos and I go to one and another and another and another, I get to the point where I get absorbed um, and it's really easy to go down the negative trail. And that's the problem. Like you see the problem, you see, especially in narcissist videos, right? You go, and they're educational, and some of them are like even entertaining. So when you do that, you tend to start thinking only about that topic for 2 hours, right? Or however long you end up, excuse me, guys, however long you end up on your phone looking through things. Uh, yeah, whatever you focus on, that's going to take over your mood. That's going to take over your focus. Even if for the rest of the day you're doing other things, you might think, oh, I wanted to go back and check on my phone and see what's there. And then you check on your phone to see if maybe someone called or someone texted. And then you realize, oh, I left this video open. Oh, let me finish watching that video. And then here you go. You're back into that time warp again. That has been my crappy this week. So I have to learn to pull myself away and maybe set a timer. I think there are such things on your phone. Well, I know I can just set a timer, a regular timer. But I think that's what I'm going to do this week. The thing I'm learning about myself is I have got to set a timer. Otherwise, I'll just keep going and going and going. And I have to make sure I get out, right? Stop doing this and get out and do something else for a while. Man, yeah. Oh, BB Sky, good to see you. Awesome. Says a good topic today. I am ready and early. Yes. Glad that you're here. Let me see. Oh, interesting. You know what? So funny. Okay, that's interesting. You guys are just having some conversation, which is great. I will just check to see. Okay, good. Oh my gosh. And so my happy this week, I want to hear what your happies are. And I see some of you are talking about that already. It's giving me some ideas. So that's pretty cool. Um, my happy this week has been that I got to meet up with a few different people who are interested in the truth and are motivated and are just, and motivated in a good way, just motivated to bring more positivity out there and at the same time educate and help people to see truth. So that has been very encouraging. I've been able to talk heart to heart with some people, and not for like long periods of time, just a few minutes. But it's really good when you're able to talk to some people who have different views than you do, and you're able to have a heart to heart and hopefully reconnect, just human to human, you guys. So that has been my happy this week. So hoping you guys had a good week as well. Definitely am looking forward to hearing about it. But let's jump into our topic today. It's called After-Narc Paranoia. And this is very normal, okay? There are different kinds of paranoia. The first one you're going to probably feel is, everybody is looking at you, or everybody knows all of your your garbage, right? Everybody knows what happened between you and the narcissist. And maybe some people do know some of it because the narcissist undoubtedly is talking about it with other people, right? So you can walk into a room and feel like all eyes are on you and people know and people are acting kind of weird around you now. So they must know, or the narc must be talking to them. And I have had that absolutely with every narc that has been in my life. I'll tell you that right now. Every narc that has been in my life has undoubtedly talked and trashed and gossiped about not just me, but pretty much everybody, right, in their life. So what makes us different? We're not. We're not different from everybody else in the narc's life. They're going to talk about us. So there'll be times you'll walk into a room and you just feel like everybody quieted down. Or you walk in the room and People who are normally very outgoing and pleasant and warm to you suddenly are kind of standoffish. And you're like, what the heck, right? Yep, yep. The narc is definitely, but here's the deal. Don't spend too much time paying attention to that. It doesn't matter uh, if people are looking at you. And actually, we're more sensitive to it than probably is actual and real. So you don't want to focus on how others are looking at you, whether they're quieting down. It doesn't matter. You're going to still bring whatever you were going to bring when you came there, right? If you came there to enjoy people's company, go ahead and still enjoy people's company. You still be you. You act as if whatever they know is not really there. Because if they want to bring it into the conversation, they'll ask you, hey, what happened between you and your ex? And, or, your ex mentioned this to, and sometimes they will. Sometimes they'll actually mention this to you. But if they don't, the heck with it. Just gloss over it and you be you. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your time with the people that are there. Mingle, talk to them. And here's the deal. Some of these people are going to fall away. Some of them are going to be swayed, right, by what they're hearing from the narcissist. Some of them are going to start making judgments and start being critical. And, well, that's them. You can't change what they're going to think or what they're going to feel or how they're... what decisions they're going to make about your relationship with them. But you can decide how far you want to take your relationship with them. Engage it by that. Just be like, hey, if they get together with me for coffee or they want to go out sometime, cool. But if you try to set something up with them and you never hear back from them, cool, that's fine, whatever. This is a sign to move on. This is a sign that these people are not that good of a friend. Those are not the people you need to start pouring more into, right? In fact, you want to start looking elsewhere to find people who are receptive. And a lot of times you got to move away from your mutual friends, sadly enough. But some of your mutual friends won't care. Some of your mutual friends will be like, well, what happened between you guys happened, and I still like you. And the more you're yourself, the more you are not gossiping, the more you are happy and wanting to pour into that relationship, if that person is a healthy friend, to have, they will reciprocate. They will be pouring back into you and you're going to have a great relationship. Now, I've had some relationships like that where we actually blossomed after the narc abuse. But then I've had also others who I just feel like, okay, they are obviously feeble-minded, and it's true. They are feeble-minded who decide they're going to be critical without asking any questions. They're not going to want to hear both sides of the story. They already made their decision, and they love gossip along with the narcissist. So it does you good to just cut that out. So the paranoia that comes in there is probably the first one. Now, the second wave of paranoia that comes in will happen when you start investigating and finding out more and more about narcissistic personality disorder, because you start to identify, initially you're identifying with a lot of it and you're thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, I missed all these red flags and this is exactly how the narcissist treated me. And I'm going to jump into this part. The beginning of the relationship, we talk about the love bombing. And here's the deal, though. Most relationships start off that way anyway. It's not like, oh, you start off and it's very boring. Unless you've been friends for years and years and years, and then suddenly you look at each other differently. Okay, that's off of, the charts there. But for most relationships, when you first meet each other, it's exciting and you're getting to know each other and you're having a lot of fun. So now you're looking back at your narcissistic relationship and you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's what happened at the beginning of our relationship. And all these videos and all these articles are telling me that was love bombing. So then the next time you get into a relationship and it's exciting and you're getting to know the other person and the other person's getting to know you and you're you're excited about each other and like, oh my gosh, let's go do this, let's go do that. Things that maybe you wouldn't even normally do because um, when you get together with somebody else, you're going to want to try out whatever they're interested in, and they're going to want to try out whatever you're interested in. So it sure does look like love bombing. You have to be careful to not apply everything you learn to everybody you meet, right? You don't want to project it onto them. Oh my gosh, this must be love bombing. They want to do everything, spend time with me. They want to try all the things that I'm interested in. Oh my gosh, they're love bombing me. No, they're just getting to know you. Okay, you have to step back. This is not a sign of narcissism. This is relationship. Now, the sign of narcissism is when you have more than one, right? So, and it's not just two, by the way. I think in NPD, I think now they're up to, used to be 9 indicators for narcissistic personality disorder, and I think it's up to 12 now, characteristics. And it used to be if you have 5 or more, then you would be diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. So 2 years ago, when I started looking into this, it was 5 or more. Now I think it might be 6 or more, now that there are 12 of them, characteristics. So don't think that everybody's a narcissist just because they have 1 or 2 of the traits, okay? Or even 3 of the traits. If you want to know what the traits are, I've made a video on that. I'll go ahead and link it into this video in the description and then hopefully in the iCards when the video uploads, which for some reason takes, I don't know why, 14 hours. Used to take all of 12 minutes or so to upload these videos. But anyway, so you guys, you want to look at more than one indicator. And if you don't do that and you just think, oh, this person does this one thing or that person does these 2 things, they must be a narcissist, you're going to become more and more paranoid. You're going to start to feel like your world is closing in on you and all these narcissists are surrounding you. And I've had some viewers who have felt that way and have asked, oh my gosh, is everybody a narcissist? And the answer is, of course, no, not everybody is. We all have some narcissistic traits, right? There are some of these traits that it's just part of being human. If you're going to be a person, nobody is walking around a perfect human being, all right? Nobody. So some people are going to feel shame and hide when they make a mistake, right? It's not necessarily a narcissist that's trying to play you. It's just somebody who's too ashamed to admit their guilt, right? But after a while, they'll feel too guilty and then they'll admit it. Just things like this you have to pay attention to. And I don't want you to fall into this pit where you become so paranoid that you unplug. You unplug from society. You unplug from all of your friends and your family. Now, I'm going to get into some of this because it's very easy to start labeling people as a narcissist. And I want to talk about a couple of the traps that kind of pull you into that. And you want to avoid this. So let me just check and see if you guys are doing okay. Yeah, exactly, BB Scott. Yeah. Yeah. BB Scott says correct. All relationships start off with a little honeymoon phase. Absolutely. So it doesn't seem out of place, and there should be a little excitement. Jeez, Obi. Oh, because she tells you not everybody's a narcissist. Okay, boy, you little think about that. Think about that. If more than one person's telling you not everybody's a narcissist. Okay. Anyway, here we are. So the thing is, narc awareness could actually ruin or save you. being aware of the narcissistic personality traits could save you from a really horrible relationship, right? Could save you from getting into or accepting abuse in your life and living with it. Okay, so in that, I really appreciate all the people who've come out to try to teach about narcissistic personality disorder. And I give examples in my shorter videos that I've done on the criminal stuff. You can find that in, what are those called? Like video categories, I guess I have on my main page. And the reason I give you examples of these criminals and what goes on and what they say, how they behave, what their crime was, and then there are some with short videos of what they of them actually behaving and talking to police or during the interrogation, and you can see the narcissistic personality come out. Now those examples are good because then when you see that in another person, you're like, whoa, that's a warning. And especially if if it's gotten to be an abusive relationship, whether it's verbally abusive, and I'm not talking about like once in a while they're irritated at you and so they use a tone with you. We need to stop thinking like, oh, that's abuse. It's just life. Nobody's going to treat you perfectly every minute of your life. You don't treat anybody perfectly every minute of your life either. So let's not hold this impossible standard to people and then expect that if they should fail that standard, then suddenly they're a narcissist. That's absolutely not true. So if you do apply that kind of standard to people, though, that's where it will ruin your life. So it could save you from staying in an abusive relationship, but it could ruin you if you think every little infraction, every time someone every time someone's just frustrated, oh my gosh, they're a narcissist. No, they're not. They're just frustrated, just like everybody gets frustrated. All right. So I had written some notes. I'm going to see, I'm going to read them out to you. If you learn just enough to be aware of it, but can't discern the lies from truth, you will become paranoid and think almost everyone is a narc. You'll become biased towards those who make you feel good, even though they're just trying to be nice and not stir the water. So in this, we're going to still be fallible, all right? We're still going to put our bias on people dependent on how they treat us. So if someone is flattering you and is just being really nice to you and never complains about anything you say or do, never has a criticism at all, which is good, right? You're like, oh, this is great. I love being around this person. But what might happen is you start to trust that person more and more, and to the point where you don't realize they're playing you. You don't realize that they're manipulating you. So, so when they start asking you to do uncomfortable things or break laws or rules, cheat or steal, you tend to think, well, I trusted them. I already built this trust foundation with them, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. You have to be able to see the lies from the truth, right? So when they're buttering you up and it's totally not true, that you can recognize, okay, this person's just buttering me up. When you're feeling like you're so needy for praise and people to keep buttering you up, then you're going to start falling for the narcissist types. You got to be careful of that. It will mess you up. The problem here is you have to be real with yourself. Like when someone, the other side of the coin of that is when a person, a good friend, tries to tell you something that you don't want to know, you don't want to hear, you take it as a criticism. And when your good friend tries to tell you, hey, dude, you curse a lot, you might want to tone that down a little bit. And because they see that you're making people around you uncomfortable, right? You're throwing the F-bomb around way too much and pretty, comfortably everywhere you go whether you're in public and around little kids and whatever, right? And you're doing this. And your friend's like, hey, dude, you might want to not do that so much. And then you look at them and you're thinking, well, who the heck are you? This is who I am. I want to be myself. Or why are you trying to change me? And you think, oh, they're trying to change me. They're trying to control me. That person's a narcissist. So what will happen is if you know just enough about narcissistic personality disorder and you're not able to discern truth from lies, you are going to think the people who are actually friends, real friends, people who actually care about you enough to curb your bad behavior, you're going to think they're the narcissist because they're trying to control you. And then the people who are manipulating you and try to get something from you because of whatever, right? And they butter you up, they compliment you, they never criticize anything you do. In fact, they encourage even your bad behavior. Oh yeah, you just be you, keep on doing that. And then they trash anybody who criticizes you and tries to set you straight. So then you think they're on your team, when actually they're doing you a disservice. They're actually manipulating you into continuing to be a bad person or maybe a worse person. You're going to go down the wrong road with them. So that's why it's really important when you are looking around and you think, oh, is this person a narcissist? Is that person a narcissist? Look at their track record with you. Have they been loving before? Are they always the person that you can call, and they'll always be there, right? So, and I think a lot of people have experienced this. I know that I have, where I'm the kind of person that for my friends, if they need me, they can call me. They know that. And the awesome thing is, through the years, we may have had our ups and downs and moments of truth. I'll tell you, those moments of truth are hard. But they keep coming back because they know I'm there for them. They know that I mean well. They know that I have their back. I may not agree with everything they do or everything they say, and it's okay, you guys. It's okay to disagree. You don't have to be offended just because you have a disagreement. But they know ultimately when they are in the dumps. I've gotten calls at midnight. I've gotten, texts, asking to get together so that they can get my perspective because they're going through something hard, or could I pray for them, because they know I'll be there. They know they can trust my judgment. And that's the other thing too. They'll call me when they want my opinion on a situation that they're having with somebody else, right? Because they want to know the truth. They don't want to just be buttered up. They don't want to just be told, oh, the other person is all at fault and you're just perfectly walking on this earth. Everybody should be worshiping you because you're so perfect. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to give them the truth. And the thing is, there have been people, though, in my life where I've given them the truth. And not like I go out there and I just point it out to them like, hey, this is what's wrong with you. I don't do that. But when we have those heart-to-heart conversations, or when we're just having conversation and I'm just being real and I'm like, these are my opinions about things. I'm not even sure what their opinions about things are, but they're welcome to pipe up and tell me as well. But if my opinions contradict or go against their opinions, suddenly now they feel like, oh my gosh, we're too different, and how dare you tell me your opinion? Like, well, isn't that what friends do? I mean, we should be able to talk freely with each other. It's not an argument, but anyway, they will feel uncomfortable because my opinion may not mesh with their opinion. So that now suddenly they feel like we're at odds when we're not at odds. They're at odds. I'm not at odds with them. So then they just detach and they think there's something wrong with the person that doesn't have the same opinion as with them. So they're going to detach and never talk to you again. I'm like, okay, but that's where having just enough awareness, not even awareness, but when you're feeling uncomfortable or challenged with somebody, suddenly you're more likely to label them a narcissist. Suddenly you're more likely to criticize them and pick at every little thing about their character until you get enough proof that they fulfill certain elements of the narcissistic personality disorder, right? And but then other people who are flattering you, who are the yes people, who never help you with anything either, by the way, because they're not even loyal, because when you try to call them, they're always busy and they're never around. And they give you horrible advice, by the way, but they don't criticize you. So you never feel uncomfortable around them. You might tend to think that, oh, those people are good. Those people are my real friends because they never make me feel bad. And it's not that your friends make you feel bad. If there's things you need to change in your life, a good friend is going to step up and help you with that, right? A good friend is going to be honest with you. And some good friends are brutally honest because they have to be. If you're so far down in a hole that you cannot see straight, a really good friend will go in there and dig you out. And that digging is not going to be easy. It's not going to be pleasant. It's not going to make you feel all happy inside and sunshines and sunshine and rainbows and butterflies. You're going to feel like, what? Why are you bothering me? Why are you making it hard on me? It's because they see you're in a ditch. It's because they see you're going down a really dark, terrible path. So instead of turning and biting them, you need to be real with yourself. So you guys, this narc paranoia comes in when you're in this dark place and you're not moving forward. You're in fact becoming more of a grump. You're becoming more miserable. You're becoming more bitter, right? Because of the abuse you've had in the past. When you've had that bitterness start to creep into your life, you'll start to you're not going to be able to, first of all, be real with yourself and see what's accurate, what's a truth and what's a lie. You're just going to apply your bias, right, towards people. You're going to think, well, if this person makes me feel uncomfortable because they said something about my tone when I was, all mad at them. Well, you just feel like, how dare they even ask you to please not yell at them? You're like, how dare they? It gets that bad. It gets to the point where you cannot even accept correction in that way. And then when that happens, you start to label them as the abuser or the controller or the narcissist. And in actuality, this is a person who's willing to stand there with you, take your blows, and correct you. Whereas a real narcissist is going to be like, petting your ego, telling you there's nothing wrong, letting you become this terrible monster of a person. And then you're looking around like, where'd all my friends go? How come my life is so lonely? Why is nobody coming around me anymore? Well, because you pushed away the people who were trying to help, and you're labeling them as the narcissist, while you're chasing after the people who don't challenge you. But here's the deal. Those people who don't challenge you, they may not be the narcissist, but they're also not exactly your friends either, because they don't feel comfortable bringing the truth to you, because they know they're going to get your stink eye, or they know you're going to retaliate. They know you're going to say something to combat them because you don't want to hear the truth. You guys, just be very careful of that kind of behavior, because it will lead you down this paranoia trap. And then you're going to look around and wonder, well, why can't I date anybody? Why is there nobody out there to date? Why don't I even like anybody? Part of liking people is actually, it starts with liking yourself. And I'm not talking about in that arrogant, narcissistic way, you guys. I'm talking about you're liking the person that you are, right? You probably want to write out a list of characteristics that you like, right? What are your morals? What are your standards? And then see how you stand up to all of those, how you measure up to all of those things. Are you the person you want to be? Are you the kind of person that you would want to be best friends with? Okay? Like you could be, here's a trap that we all fall into, because this is being taught in our culture right now. Like, love the person that you are, accept yourself as you are. And that sounds great, but the problem is when you love every bad thing about yourself and you feel like there's nothing you need to change because if you change your bad behavior, you're no longer yourself. You guys, if that's what's being taught out there and we're absorbing it, we're going to be miserable, horrible little monsters. And I think that's why we do see a lot of horrible, miserable, maybe not little monsters out there who walk around as if the whole world owes them something, right? And they're the center of everybody's universe, is what they think. And they deserve special treatment because they're special. They've suffered the most, or nobody knows their past and all the things that has happened to them. So they deserve more than everybody else because they look at everybody else as if everybody else has had a perfect life. And they're the only ones who've had a hard life. So they deserve, they're entitled, they are special. And the world tells them this, right? The world tells them, our culture is telling them, hey, love yourself. It's not your fault. All these things happen to you and you deserve better. So they're actually walking around believing all of that garbage, by the way. Now, if you work on yourself and you're still beating yourself up and you're like, oh, I'm defeated, I'll never change, I'm too broken, I think that's what that message was supposed to help, people who are stuck in that situation, stuck in that mentality, that they cannot bring themselves out of their own pit because they're always berating themselves. They're always saying they're never going to measure up. They can't do this. They're just very negative with themselves. That's the point of where that cultural teaching that, love yourself and take good care of yourself and you deserve better than you think, because you're thinking, I deserve nothing and my life is terrible and I'll never have the things I want. When you're thinking that way, people want to help you come out of that. Now, there are some people who are not even thinking that way. They're just jealous. They're walking around thinking, how come this person has what I don't have? And then the culture is telling them, oh, you deserve more. You deserve better. They're not better than you. Then you're going to build yourself into this terrible monster of a person. So be very careful of that. You want to be close to people who are willing to stand in the fire with you, who are willing to tell you the hard things, right? Who are willing to correct you when you step over a line, especially with them. It's not wrong that they have boundaries. Like if some, people who come into my house, they know I don't tolerate foul language, right? Now, do I use foul language from time to time? Yes, but this is my house and I don't use it like on people. I just, when I'm mad, I might say something in an empty room, or with my husband, right? He's aware of what I say. But generally, I know to tone it down because I know it makes him uncomfortable as well. So just because I'm mad doesn't mean it's okay for me to be filthy mouthed. So I've learned and I've changed my character and I've worked on myself so that I don't react in that way. Now, when people come into my home, they know that there's a boundary here. Like, we do not just use curse words for the heck of it, just because we feel like using it as an adjective, a verb, an adverb. You know, like, be a little more creative than that, right? So just because someone asks you, please don't do that around me, doesn't mean they're a terrible person. They're trying to control you. It's a healthy boundary. It's a healthy boundary. Yeah. So a lot of times I think what ends up happening is the paranoia when you start reading about narcissistic personality disorder, when people tell you or try to enforce their boundary and they don't want you crossing over their boundary, suddenly you're going to project onto them, oh, they're being controlling, they're being narcissistic because they're assuming they're better than I am because they're telling me I'm wrong and they're right, when that may not even be the case at all. They're not telling you you're wrong. They're just letting you know what's the rule if you want to be around them, right? Yeah. Oh, let me see what you guys are saying here. Yeah, yeah. There's so much to learn in relationships and to sort through. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Chris's garden pile. Good to see you. Let me see what you, let me go back a bit. And Letty, good to see you. Oh my. Yeah, Letty says the person I'm dating tells me he is giving me advice, but it's name calling and insulting. I do explain the difference between giving me advice and actual insults, and he gets angry with me. Letty, that's a great example right there of discernment. You are seeing that there is a line that people cross. You know, there's helpful and then there's insulting. And then when they're insulting, then it's toxic, right? Then no. And I'm glad that you mentioned this, that you point out to him that this is insulting. And let me help you with this a little bit, Letty. If he keeps doing that and you tell him what the boundaries are, and he has to stop using names like, well, I just think it's stupid that you do this and that and that. Well, he doesn't need to say it's stupid. You know, he needs to, even though he does think it's stupid, essentially he's calling you stupid, right? And then maybe also he, how do I put this? I kind of doubt that he would like it if you did the same thing to him, right? Even if he's like, oh no, this is the way I am, and I'd rather you be just blunt with me like this. But honestly, if you were as blunt with him as he is with you, as often as he is with you, he will get annoyed. He won't want it. So again, back to treat people the way you want to be treated. He can be honest with you, but there are certain limits. Like, you're not going to say it's stupid that I do these things. Just say, well, wouldn't it be better if you did it this way? Or, and here's something I learned, by the way. I guess I'm kind of getting off on that, but there can be more than one way of doing things, right? One, to each person, they think that their way is the smart way. And to accuse the other person of being stupid for not using their way, right? Their own way. That's not helpful in a relationship. That is toxic. And that is a boundary that needs to be enforced. Chris's garden says, at this point, I just prefer to continue to stay alone. I totally enjoy my life. Yep, 3 narcs coming after me since hubby died. He was not a narc. It's just easier to be alone. Wow, Chris, yeah. I'm glad that you're able to recognize unhealthy relationships. So glad that your husband wasn't a narc and that you did have that time with him. And I'm sorry that he passed away. And wow, you're really going through a thing here where, of course, these other ones who are coming after you, and they're not bringing good things into your life. They're bringing toxicity into your life. That's not good. Obviously, that is something that we don't need. And you're right, it is so much better to be alone than to have that in your life. Yeah. Yeah. Chris says, I'm not, oh, I am content. I just want to get over the fears the last 3 narcs brought to the surface again. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing about relationships. They're going to expose a lot of our own character. It may not be exposed in that the other person's insulting us and telling us what's wrong with us. It could be exposed because of how we are going to respond to them, how we hold back from them, or how we share too much with them, maybe, or how we can't, how we're up and down emotionally with them, and we're not stable in our emotions. That gives us really good insight into the things we need to work on with ourselves, right? So, having had those relationship experiences, there's so much you can learn from them, even through the bad things, right? Even through the times that you behaved badly or you responded in ways that you wish you didn't. Now you have this chance of changing that, of being real with yourself. Here we are again, coming back to you have to be real with yourself in order for others to be real with you, right? For you to have this good and healthy relationship, you have to first be real with yourself. If you're not real with yourself and you want to stay in a fantasy world where everything you do is perfect and you're never wrong, you are not going to get into a healthy relationship, because that right there is not a healthy thing. So, what are you bringing into the relationship if you're unable to be real with yourself about your shortcomings? Now, you don't want to beat yourself up and say, like, oh, all these things are wrong with me and I'm never going to get better. You know, that's not being real with yourself. That's being pessimistic, I guess, pessimistic. It's being a defeatist, right? And you don't want to do that. You want to move forward. BB Scott says, follow your feelings is actually not a good route, as our feelings can be reactive, hijacked, and not true. Yep, same with thoughts. They are often reactive and not a good and true path to follow. Yes, yes. So, you guys, I hope that this is helping you recognize that not every relationship that you have is a narcissistic one, right? Not everybody you're meeting is a narcissist. And you do have to trust your gut too. You know, you're going through healing right now. And for a while, you are going to need to retreat. You know, you don't need to have a barrage of people criticizing you and telling you how to live your life and what you're doing wrong. You need to pull in and you need to see what happened, reassess. You need to identify things that you didn't like in the relationship, and it's good. It's good to find that out. It's good to know, oh, I didn't like it when this person behaved this way, or had a short temper, right? I didn't like that they cursed a lot. I didn't like that they stayed up all night and slept all day. Okay? So there are things that you're going to start realizing, I don't really want this in my life, and that's good. That's fine. That's discernment. Then you start to see things that you do that you don't want to continue in your life. Like maybe you're the one who stays up all night and sleeps all day, and then you feel like you didn't get anything accomplished, or you're feeling more down every day. Then you need to change that, right? You need to go, oh, I didn't like it in them, but I also don't like it in me. I don't want to continue to do that. So it's a really good time for you to kind of pull back, retract a little bit, and reassess who you are, what you want in your life, before you start jumping forward and dating, you know, like crazy, and just assuming everybody's got problems with themselves and everybody's a narcissist because everybody displays 1 to 2 traits of NPD, right? Like I said earlier, it's more than 1 or 2 traits. You have to fulfill, I believe now, like 6 traits of 11. I think it's out of 11. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've looked into this, and it changes every year apparently. So, yeah, don't want to fall into that trap of paranoia, because you're going to start pushing people, good people, away. And at the same time, your biases towards people who make you feel good but aren't really helpful in your life, you're going to be bringing and allowing in people who are not good for you. Yeah. I have a few more notes. Let me read these to you. It says, while you will think anyone who is trying to tell you the truth is a narcissist. Oh, yeah. sorry, this was a continuation of a thing before where I said that those who are buttering you up and complimenting you all the time, you think they're the wonderful friends. I just love this friend. But then somebody who, on the other hand, is trying to tell you the truth, suddenly you think they're the narcissist because the truth hurts. I have a friend who was telling me about someone that she counsels. I don't know who it is. Okay, she's just sharing with me that because of what I do, she just wanted to hear my opinion on it. Um, Someone that she'd been counseling, I believe, for she didn't get into very many details because she wanted to protect, the identity. And in fact, I don't even know who her clients are. So anyway, I don't know names, I don't know faces, but so she says one of the people that she counsels, she's known for a while, and in fact, this person knows her partner, her business partner in their counseling business very well as also. But now this person has become paranoid. Now the person that she is counseling has become paranoid. So she didn't use the term paranoid. She said that this client believes everybody is gaslighting her. That's paranoia, by the way. She thinks that everybody is gaslighting her. So it's gotten to the point where she believes um, the counselor's business partner, the other counselor, is gaslighting her when that other counselor is trying to tell her the truth. The other counselor is trying to give her guidance, trying to curb her paranoia. And now she thinks she's being gaslit. And she uses that term. So my friend was asking me about this. What is up with everybody saying they're gaslit now? Everybody thinks everybody's gaslighting everybody. And I said, yeah, it's probably because of these channels. We talk about gaslighting. It's become a pretty popular and trendy thing to talk about and to explore and learn. And I think just about everybody, almost everybody, no, I shouldn't say everybody. A lot of people, though, are familiar with the term gaslighting. But now that they're familiar with that term, they're projecting it onto people, right? Now this client is looking around, now that she knows this term gaslighting, now that she knows what it means and how people do it, she suddenly feels like everybody around her is gaslighting her when they're trying to curb her paranoia, when they're trying to help her, when they're trying to tell her the truth, which is painful, and she doesn't want to hear it. So she thinks that they're telling her things that are not true, because it's more comfortable to keep yourself inside of a lie that everything is fine with you. There's nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with the way you see things. You're perfectly right all the time. But when someone says, well, actually, that's not correct. What you saw there was your bias, right? You're projecting your fear onto this person, and then you're assuming that person is treating you in some way because you're expecting them to treat you a certain way. Now, when a counselor says that to her, suddenly she feels like the counselor is gaslighting her. Yeah, it's absolutely paranoia. That's what's going on. And so I'm hoping that this counselor can help this woman because I think it's a woman. Yeah, she did say it's a she. So that much I know. Yeah, I'm praying that, she'll be able to help her. But when someone starts to fall into this paranoia trap, how do they get out of it, right? Even when they start looking at their own counselor's business partner, and here's the trap. If this person doesn't stop believing that everybody's gaslighting her, she's now going to start projecting it onto her own counselor, my friend. So she's going to project that onto her own counselor and assume when her counselor is trying to help her, trying to give her the truth, trying to guide her towards the truth, and the truth is uncomfortable, the client is going to assume that the counselor now is a narcissist, is a bad guy, is someone who's trying to control her, someone who's gaslighting her. Do you see that paranoia start to build there? And now she's pushing away people who are good for her, who are trying to help her see good in others. Yeah. And here's the other part to this. It's not just like she walked in there and one day she just decided to label everybody as gaslighting her. I think that she started falling down towards into a pit, right? A paranoia, into a negative pit where she starts seeing symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder. She starts being able to identify certain characteristics played out here and with this person, and then with the neighbor, and then with the dog sitter, and then with the babysitter, and then with the co-worker. They start identifying as if everybody is a narcissist and wanting to pick out narcissistic traits in everybody. Oh, what's this person's narcissistic trait? When you start to be, this is why I think counseling and psychology is not for everyone. If you're not prepared and you're not really trained to see the truth, you're going to build up this crazy paranoia world where it will ruin you. So just be careful of that as you're watching all these videos, as you're identifying, being able to identify certain traits. Don't just assume, well, now I'm a certified psychiatrist, No, you could be wrong. I could be wrong. Admit that to yourself. Even certified psychiatrists or degreed, people with degrees in psychiatry, they can be wrong as well. Because psychiatry, by the way, is it's a living science. It's continual observation, continual study of people, and also cultures, because cultures will ebb and flow and change. Anyway, but ultimately there is a truth and there is a lie. So that's what we always have to strive for, to know that. So I wrote, guess what? You will only know enough about narcissism to project all the negative onto those who make you uncomfortable, while ignoring the red flags of real narcissists or toxic people complimenting you and trying to make you feel good. You'll think that the truth tellers are gaslighting you because the truth is painful and you will want to avoid pain. I mean, naturally, that's what we do. We avoid pain. Knowing about narcissistic personality disorder could make someone more paranoid and worse off than someone who doesn't know about narcissistic personality disorder. It depends on how open you are to questioning and discomfort. So, yeah, it's okay to be uncomfortable. In fact, it's like jumping into a cold pool, and then when you get out, you're shivering, but then as soon as you start to feel the warmth on you, the truth on you, it feels so much better. You feel like you've been released from something, or something's released from you. It's okay to feel discomfort with the truth. The truth is so good. When you're able to identify, like, oh my gosh, I've been lazy. I let myself really go, and I'm out of shape. Oh my gosh, how am I can't even walk up a flight of stairs without breathing hard. When you're able to be truthful with yourself, now you can address the problem. Now you can change that situation, right? Now you can motivate yourself. Well, I want to be healthier than this. I want to be able to not just go up a flight of stairs. I want to be able to run a few miles. You're going to want to start working out. You're going to want to start strength training. You're going to want to do a little cardio each day, and it'll motivate you because you're being real with yourself. Other people who are not being real with themselves, and I know people like this as well. I have very, very close loved ones who, since they were 40, were telling me, I'm so old and I can't do this. I'm an old lady. I'm like, you're 40. And granted, yeah, at the time I was 20, but I was like, you're 40. Well, now this person is a lot older and they're still saying, oh, I'm so old and I can't do this. In fact, I think the person was in her 30s when she started saying that to me. And so now, she's much older, and she's just, and I've told her, I'm like, you've been saying this since you were like 36. You've been saying that you're old and your body's falling apart since you were 36. So what the heck? Why are you? You got to get moving, and you're never too old, by the way, to start moving and improving. You're never too old to get stronger. You're never too old to make good changes in your life. It's only going to benefit you. Yeah. So be open to questioning yourself, right? And your lifestyle and what's health, what you do, your bad habits. Question those things. And then it's okay to be uncomfortable getting help from people who are willing to tell you, yeah, you know what? You shouldn't stay up to 3 o'clock in the morning every night, unless you're working, of course. But why are you staying up to 3 o'clock in the morning, watching videos, watching movies or whatever, and not getting the rest you need? You're not setting yourself up for success. So it's okay to be uncomfortable with some of this criticism. It's constructive criticism. These are the kinds of things, when you hear them, you can start moving yourself in the right direction. And seeing the truth. Once you are truthful with yourself and you start applying things to make you feel, not just feel better, but it does make you feel better when you start getting your life on the right track. Then, like, yeah, right, like you're saying you sleep too much. I'm guilty of feeling so old. Oh, narc abuse is exhausting. Stuck in night. Oh, yeah, that's right, Shines. Yeah, you know, this is where you have to start implementing good habits. So when your mind starts telling you, oh my gosh, I'm 60, or oh my gosh, I'm 40, or whatever age you might be, tell yourself, oh, okay, even if you're 60, people are living into their 90s, right? Like you have 30 something years still to go. So you're only 60. Oh, Chris says, I'm almost 72. Spent 7 hours working in the yard yesterday. Last narc says it is not good for me to care about my yard so much. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's good for you to be outside, I'll tell you that for sure. And if your yard needs 7 hours of work, which mine does, I think it's a good thing. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Chris says he works hard at being as lazy as possible. Really? And that's good. And he's in bad health and only 65. Holy moly. Yeah, exactly. These are people who are just so negative, and then they're 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 trying to they're trying to put lies into your life and have you accept these lies because they're comfortable with them. They're comfortable with the lies. They're comfortable in their life, that is. They're comfortable with negativity in their life and negative habits and bad habits. Yeah. I'm glad you recognize that. Yep. So prepare yourself because truth is hard to accept. That's why people prefer the fantasy world of the narcissist. The narcissist knows this and will entice you or lure you in with their promises of good things in their world or their policies. So what I mean by that is like what your friend or that guy you were with telling you that, oh no, it's good to just relax and not do anything. And then you see like, okay, it is good to relax, but not every day, all day long, and get absolutely nothing done. And then just become this sluggard. They're going to try to get you to believe and fall into this lure that life is so much better if you live it in their negative way. But at first you might not see it as negative. You might think like, oh my gosh, yeah, I am working too hard and I'm sore at the end of the day after working 7 hours in my yard. And then they'll tell you, you don't have to be sore. You could be relaxed and just enjoying and watching this movie with me. Anyway, you know where that goes. So use your spidey sense. There have been flashes of truth that contradict what the narcissist is telling you. The longer you avoid the truth, the harder you will fall. And it can make the difference between 2 months with a narcissist, 2 years with a narcissist, or 20 years with a narcissist. Listen to your spidey sense. When you start to see the narcissist contradicting themselves and spouting things that just go against your morality, go against your sense of good, then yeah, then you may want to be more discerning with the narcissist. So, experts, there are people out there who are self-proclaimed experts, right, on NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. But even they are deceiving themselves sometimes. And because if they're not able to discern who, how do I put this? I've seen people say about public figures, oh, what do you think about this public figure? Is he a narcissist? Oh, what do you think about that public figure? Isn't she a narcissist? Oh, I can't believe what a narcissist this person is. And I'm thinking, we don't really know that public figure, and we actually only see what's edited by mainstream media or tabloids or whatever you might call it now. So we only get the fantastical or whatever they call it, right? The exciting, the crazy headlines that will make us click or read or watch a video about that public figure. We're not seeing the real public figure, and yet people who are self-proclaimed experts, and maybe some of them actually have PhDs and whatever, MD after their name, they'll tell you this person's a narcissist, that person's a narcissist. And I'm like, you can't diagnose over the TV, by the way. You can't diagnose through clips of video if someone's a narcissist, because you don't know everything about that. You don't know what the situation is. You're not seeing it in context. So even these experts, they can deceive you and make you more paranoid, because you start to trust them. You start to think, well, they've got MD after their name, or they have PhD after their name. And so they must know what they're talking about, but really they're only jumping on this bandwagon of, hey, let's just diagnose everybody that we run into, and let's just focus on some narcissistic traits that they have and then call them a narcissist. So be careful of that, okay? Now, they can point out narcissistic traits and say, like, be careful of this trait. You don't want people treating you this way. That's an unhealthy trait. That's one thing. But you don't want to just assume, like, if anybody has this one trait, then that makes them a narcissist. Although there is one that I think that does make you a narcissist, the one trait, and that's not having a conscience. Not having a conscience, you guys. Like, if someone has no conscience and doesn't feel, they're very detached. They don't feel guilt or shame when they are all out hurting somebody. They just can't see it. To me, that's like the ultimate one characteristic, that if they have that characteristic, well, second of all, there's going to be a bunch of other characteristics that will follow along. But that is like the one thing where if they have no conscience, there's a big problem there. And that's going to be a very toxic relationship. And you do not want to get into that. Yep. Yep. You get, one more thing I want to say about these experts. Oh, we're way over our time. So I'll let you finish up your comments with each other. BB Scott says, be careful of all experts. Be careful. Hold on, let me see. And test the spirits. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Raishine says, I have some great support. Oh, wow. Yep. BB Scott says, yes, they will gin up fear. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I really like this. And this has been on one of my videos as well. be kind and patient with yourself as if you were your own child. Yes. And Rai Shines, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yes, and thank all of you guys for coming on and sharing your experiences. Yeah, and sharing your insights. We all benefit because of that. So, so much appreciate. Yeah. This is true, BB Scott. I do have to agree with that as well. I'm just going to read this. This is terrible because it's at the very end of the video, but it says, but there are also circumstances where you wake up and you see them in your friends, these narc traits, and family, and realize they have been around you all your life. Yeah, many of us, me, this BB Scott is saying, were groomed by a narc parent, and so we accepted narc friends. So you do end up allowing them all over your life. Yep, this is true. This is true. Wow. BB Scott says she is fortressing in. She has likely never been allowed boundaries her whole life. She is awake and scared. This is an early stage. Yes. When you wake up from long term narc abuse, you realize you have been surrounded and you never saw it. You have to retreat. Yes. Yes. You have to fortress and not trust. You overcompensate into a deep protection mode. This allows you to figure out how to establish boundaries. Yes. And then from better boundaries. And then, yeah, healthy boundaries. Yeah. So there's a lot, yeah, BB Scott, you're going into. Yes, I agree with just about everything here. Yeah, the problem is when you stay in isolation, you can't stay in one place. You have to retreat to heal, but then start coming out little by little and not see narcissism in everyone, right? You are going to feel that at first. You're going to be like, holy cow. You start to see all the narcissistic abuse that you endured. You're going to see the ways that you'd been manipulated. You're going to see all the lies that you had been believing all of your life. Once you do that, boy, we do retreat. We have to retreat. We have to figure out like what the heck is real, you know? And that's where you start building on who you are and who you want to be. And you'll start to emerge. You're going to do great. You're going to get stronger. And you're going to get healthier minded than even a lot of people who are making these videos nowadays who are still stuck in some bizarre narc uh, tunnel. I don't know what it is. Tunnel vision. And they just cannot break out of it. And I don't want you guys to end up like that. I want you guys to be able to break out of the narc tunnel and live a narc free life, but also a very fulfilling and lovely, beautiful, just incredible, enjoy, so much joy. There's so much joy out there. So much beauty out there. So much good out there. And there are a lot of good people. You just got to start building those friendships. Start investing in solid people. Start even asking to be mentored by good, solid people. But also do things for yourself, right? Be self-sufficient too. You don't want to be, hanging on to somebody all the time. Well, you guys, I appreciate you coming on. I really loved our time today. I hope that this has helped you guys not to be paranoid. We definitely see some narcissistic personality traits out there, but not everybody is a narcissist. And even, we all have our pride issues. That doesn't mean you're a narcissist, okay? We all think that we're right sometimes, even when we're wrong. That's not a narcissist issue. That's just us being human, okay? And then being humble, be around people who know how to be humble, who know how to apologize, who can see when they're wrong and will back off and change, right? And actually want to change. So be like that. Be a good person. Go out there, do good things, and spread joy, you guys. Have a great week, and I will see you next week.